Perfect. I'm just waiting on notification. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have two incredible panelists that are going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration as we discuss the movie Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther sequel. First of all, to Brother Mikhail and Dr. Henry M. Carter. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, wonderful. And my sister name is Peace Family. And thank everyone who's watching. Please let us know. There's going to be some spoilers ahead. So if y'all never seen the movie, stop watching right now. Go see the movie. Let us know what your thoughts are. Or watch the breakdowns on YouTube like a lot of people are doing as well. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Brother Mikhail, because I saw your status first. What was the major point that you walked away from the film, the message? What was the main message that you walked away from?
The main message was basically about how to handle grief. Because this very grief-driven film, of course, with the unfortunate passing of our brother Chadwick Boseman, I'll be pleased with his service and life and all those who love him. So I understand why they did what they did, but I don't agree with, after already having to physically grieve the loss of an incredible actor and a brother who we all came to love and respect, not just for his role in Black Panther, but other roles he's played and just his role in the community, him being an alumni of Howard University, my hometown, DC, brothers from South Carolina. I mean, so he just got love from around the world, not just for the role of Black Panther, but I believe he took that role so seriously because he knew the impact it would have around the world to young Black men who don't have any type of figures on the big screen that reflect themselves. So I felt this was a grief-driven film. It had a lot of plot holes, in my opinion, only because I'm familiar with the history of the comic and the character. And I think inside information on what the original script was going to be was going to revolve around the character T'Challa dealing with his decision to open up Wakanda to the world, and then the passing of his mother. So it was going to be combined. But he had, of course, to flip the script with the brother's passing. But yeah, the other thing that I walked away from, and I spoke about this when I was doing my analysis of The Woman King. And a lot of folks didn't like my analysis, but they didn't speak about, because when they thought about the things I was saying, when I was pointing out the true history, who the real producers were behind it, et cetera, it's like, yeah, you can get mad, but you can't argue with the truth and the facts. And that's what I was presenting, was the truth and the facts. And then I knew, since they weren't recasting T'Challa, and all the previews that we saw were heavily laced with the Dora Milaje, and I know the comic book character Shuri becomes Black Panther in the comic for a brief period of time. That's what people ain't recognize. It was for a brief period of time while the character in the comic book was in a temporary coma. So I kind of knew where it was going. But then when they were saturating, all of the previews with just the sisters, I said, by them not recasting T'Challa, I don't think they're going to have another Black man that's going to be able to step up, and make as prominent an impact on film as the sisters do. And no slight to the women. I mean, I'm all for, women getting down and kicking butt and doing their thing and being scientists and all that, all that's beautiful. But why can't it be, that there's that equality that they say they want, where they share equal time and equal partnership with someone of this, opposite sex on the screen? It doesn't happen like this. It's like the constant theme of the Black man has to be emasculated in order for the women to reign and rule and be empowered, and that ain't our way. So I walked away with my head down like, wow, they really went there, and I know the ending, the spoiler alert again, with the introduction of the young Prince T'Challa. He's like, oh yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, no, that's not beautiful, because now you got a single mother. And then the plot hole of he didn't want his son to be raised in the kingdom to have the pressures of the kingdom. That was the same problem that happened with Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
His father's dead. He's raised by a single mother. He goes, so it's like they repeated the same tropes and the same mistakes that he got upset about his father at when he went to the ancestral plane and ripped the hole in his dad about the mistakes he made and stuff. So yeah, I walked away disappointed. There was no satisfaction for me, and I went into it, kind of with some trepidation, like, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna see what they're gonna do, but I kind of already knew it's gonna be that agenda, and they stuck it in there too. You saw it; they stuck it in there. It wasn't prominent, but you can see the direction that it's going. That's what I walked away with: disappointment.
Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, Brother Mikael. We coming to you, Dr. Carter. My sister Miriam says ASA, Walaikum salam, Mimi. Brother Nelson Ramos says from Massachusetts, beloved, family, beloved. Thank you all. Can't wait to put this on YouTube. Please let us know. It's going to be some spoilers. Let us know what your thoughts are on Wakanda Forever, the sequel to the Black Panther. All right, Dr. Carter, what were your thoughts after you saw the movie?
Well, I think a lot of your viewing audience is going to cry again after they hear my commentary, but not because of the two deaths in the movie. They're going to cry because of my analytical perspective of the movie, hitting on some of the points that Brother Mikael talked about, but I saw that what was going on within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie. Now, I do have to give them credit for the cinematic marvel. We saw that same thing in the first movie, the wow effect of looking at of Wakanda and looking at the kingdom that Namor was ruling over. We saw the cinematic beauty of that. We saw the action scenes that were very good. They had very good action scenes in it. I like that. I like the technology. They introduced new technology like they did in the first movie. They stayed consistent with showing the advancement of Wakanda and the innovation of Wakanda. But as my late grandmother, Moselle, would say, howsoever, there were three overriding themes that were woven into this Wakanda story on top of what Brother Mikael said in regards to showing dysfunctional families in the Black community by having a single parent, also showing the dysfunction of the Black community. But there was a tone of buying into the narrative of the Black and brown animosity that goes on in America. There's this thing that Latino brothers and Black brothers and sisters are at odds with one another in America. And I think that movie played into that narrative when you had Namor and the kingdom of Wakanda going at each other. It feeds into that whole Black and brown animosity, which is right in line with that whole Willie Lynch manifesto. And tell people that the Willie Lynch manifesto was not just a manifesto for the division of Black people on Black people, but it was a manifesto of division of people of color against people of color around the world. And I think they played into that narrative. The second thing, as Brother Mikael said, you didn't see a very strong male role models in the lead, right? They made my hero, M'Baku, seemed like he was weak and comical and unworthy to rule. That bothered me very badly, to have this brother, who was one of the strongest figures in the movie, to be taking a second stand as a weakened, emasculated man. Now, here's what I want to preference this, because when I say this third thing, I don't want to fall into the same trap that they try to put our beloved brother Kanye and Kyrie into. So I say this with a disclaimer. In no way am I homophobic. I believe in loving the entire human family and seeing the goodness of that in the human family. Howsoever, there was an attempt to bring the narrative of a gay and lesbian lifestyle into the storyline of Wakanda, which was drastically different from the storyline that Stan Lee created, and that this storyline was a result of a sister named Roxanne Gay. Brother Coates, who's known out there, created a 6-series called The World of Wakanda, where that same gender relationship was introduced, but it was not in the original storyline. And there was an attempt from the first movie to incorporate that storyline, but got a pushback from Disney and other countries around the world. That scene, I just want to say this, that scene in the first movie where the general showed up in a red dress and the other Dora Milaje said, "Oh, you look good in that dress." And she said, "I know you do." In the original version of Black Panther, which they cut out, there was supposed to be a more intense romantic look and exchange between those two, but they cut it out. But in this movie, the last 10 seconds, they incorporated that because of the backlash they got from the gay and lesbian community. And I think that it is a travesty against our tradition in Africa to incorporate that westernized philosophy into Wakanda. That is not a African tradition. Were there people who probably had an attraction to one another? Saying yes, but was it a culturally accepted phenomena in our tradition? It was not, and they took a westernized philosophy, overtoned it with Wakanda, with an agenda of pushing a certain narrative in this movie, and I think it's going to hurt this movie in the long run in regards to sales.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Carter. Thank you, Brother Mikael. And thank you everybody who's watching all across the country. Let us know your thoughts on Black Panther, the sequel, Wakanda Forever. Okay, boom. So my question for you, Brother Mikael, is have you all seen the push? Because my main thing I didn't like about the movie, though I love the first Black Panther, I think everybody should see it, great movie, is trauma. I'm not this trauma porn, this trauma promotion of now everybody's like, because of what happened with Angela Bassett, she should win an Oscar for this one, but it wasn't the same push for the first one. So it's like, if she died, you know what I'm saying? She got killed. So it's like, what is with us as a people that love trauma? Like that's what I got from the movie. Is like, we got to be sad in order for it to be great, as opposed to the first one, uplifting. You know what I'm saying? Like I got an uplifting feeling from the first Black Panther. From this one, it was trauma. What do you think is our fascination with trauma, Brother Mikael?
I don't think it's a fascination with trauma. I think it's a conditioning in a sense of propaganda. You know, it's a long-standing, there's a long-standing agenda of Hollywood with the way they do certain roles. You know, for example, in order for you to be a successful hero in any type of Hollywood movie, you first have to play a villain. You gotta be like the baddest, most wickedest person, you know, in the world on screen first, right? And then, and if you bust that role down and you break out Oscar-winning performance, then after you do so many of those, Hollywood switches you and makes you the good guy and puts you in that role, you know. So it's almost like that's when it comes to us, it's like they have to keep reinforcing traumatic events to re-stimulate us, to keep our mind in a certain frame of mind. You know, it's no slight against Tyler Perry, but it's one of the reasons why I don't watch Tyler Perry productions. Because they're always filled with these same, it's always this trauma, dramatic, you know, somebody lose this, the light-skinned brother comes save the day, the dark-skinned brother is the villain, and he's wicked and no good. I can do bad by myself. I don't need a man. It's like all these Mama Knows Best and all this. It's like all these old things that reinforce the broken Black community that have to continue to be in our face to keep our mind in a certain framework. So the original Black Panther kind of broke that, even though they still downplayed T'Challa's role in the original. Because from those who are not familiar with the comic character, the comic T'Challa is like a scientific genius. He's like top 5 in the world. He's on level with Reed Richards, and you know he's like a scientist. So they downplayed that in the first movie, and they gave the technology genius thing to Shuri. I got no problem with that. Yeah, everybody's got a role to play, this, that, the other. But why would you emasculate him in that sense when he's already like in the original when he's first introduced, as Brother Doctor mentioned about Stan Lee's vision, when T'Challa was first introduced into the comic world, the Fantastic Four is like the first family of Marvel. They're like they're the biggest selling comic back in the 50s and 60s, you know. And when they introduced Black Panther, he basically whips everybody in the Fantastic Four. Outsmarts Reed Richards, he outguns, you know, Ben Grimm, the Thing. You know, he just outsmarts he brings them and sets a whole trap for them because he's trying to check them out, see where they at. They can't get it. Then next phase is he whips everybody in the Avengers. That's the comic book T'Challa. So they kind of, you know, when they did Civil War, I was rooting. I was like, oh yeah, they doing my man right. Yeah, he came in, he giving Winter Soldier the business, he giving Cap the business. That's what it's for, because the Captain America character, the super soldier serum, was actually West and Germany trying to recreate what Black Panther is able to do. So it's like once they took that off the table and not recasting T'Challa, and we got this grief-filled, I won't keep downplaying saying it grief-filled, because it is in a sense a tribute to our brother Chadwick, and I respect and appreciate that. At the same time, damn, we got like 10 different Supermans. We got about 5 or 6 different actors that have played Batman. We got 3 Spider-Mans, and then they brought all 3 of them together in the same film. Like we got 4 or 5 different Hulks. We got 2 different like you could maybe not so soon. They could have done a spin-off or something like that. But back to the trauma, I don't think it's one of those things where we are attracted to it. I think it has to be reinforced on us. And it's like we're constantly have to be put in a perpetual state of submissiveness. And the only way you can continue to keep us in this submissive state is we have to have constant mourning and grief and loss of life and death and suffering. Because if you give us something positive, you know, they weren't number one, they weren't expecting the original Black Panther to do what it globally, nationwide and global. They weren't expecting that. They really wasn't expecting B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, to hit home with so many of us. Because you know, Black Panther was the hero. And a lot of us was like, man, well, hell, Killmonger making some sense though. He's revolutionary up in this thing, you know. I like this character. And then when they killed him off, it's like, oh, snap. Now you took 2 major Black male figures off the chessboard. And like the doctor say, I like them M'Baku. And M'Baku was like, my man ain't playing, you know. And they, oh God, to do him the way they did him and made him like the comic relief, you know. And when they had the scene where Okoye is fighting on the bridge and the Talakans, you know, Namor's people, the Talakans come and they had a big fight. I thought that was phenomenal. You know, a 2 man, it kind of showed you like, yeah, you got skills, but you ain't got the strength. You know, basically knocked the wind out of her. I thought, and I was looking forward to it, I said, okay, Okoye got checked, and M'Baku gonna handle the tumor. They're gonna have to have a standoff. They gotta show M'Baku is strong, right? They gotta put him up against the tumor. Okoye couldn't handle him. Let M'Baku show his skills. Remember, M'Baku he beat T'Challa.
Yes.
He basically whipped him on the ceremony. You know, it's that T'Challa had just a little more wheel in him, you know what I'm saying, without the herb thing, and M'Baku gave him respect. But M'Baku ain't no play thing. But they imagined, you know, and so when they didn't let him go up against the tumor, they put him up against Namor, mismatch, you know, and they gonna basically put him on his behind. I just, man, y'all killed the one thing that I had to look forward to. That would have been the saving grace of the MCU, you know, not being the Marvel, you know, She universe, you know, you took it away. So with the trauma thing, brother, it's one of those things where I say it all the time. We're so conditioned by our condition that we can't even help our pathology to date. That some way that thing comes up, it comes out, and we don't appreciate something unless someone dies, unless someone takes a heavy loss, unless someone gets their behind whipped. Nobody can't just be the champion to be the champion. Like, it always has to have this Cinderella story, come up story that mirrors our own, and that keeps us in a perpetual state of submissiveness. So that's what I think about the trauma part within the movie. And I know that wasn't Ryan Coogler's intent. You know, I honestly think the production staff and the cast really set out in the best way they could, picking up the pieces with a heavy loss. You know, this is somebody they love. This is a brother. This is a coworker. This is somebody they came to grow and respect. And then that, but for them to re-emphasize the physical grief and put that on the cinematic and make it, you know, duality, I don't like that. I didn't like it.
Well, you know, Brother Josh, going back to Stan Lee, and I'll just to give people a bit of history, the name Black Panther was created before the Black Panther Party. So, right. So it's not that Stan Lee saw the Black Panther Party and named the Black Panther the Black Panther. No, the Black Panther, which was the first Black superhero, was named the Black Panther before. And Stan Lee did it because he understood that Black men in particular needed someone they could look up to in the comic book history that would inspire other generations of Black men to feel valued, right? So he was a forward-thinking person by creating a strong figure in creating the Black Panther. Now, to tie this into the movies that we're looking at now and the traumatizing scenes that you're talking about, it reminds me of a quote out of Hunger Games where they said, "Hope is good, but too much hope is dangerous." And so we had the hope that we were going to have strong Black male images in a time where it seems that like a strong Black male image is a bad word called toxic masculinity right now. If you're a strong Black male standing up on 10 toes down, you're toxic, right? And so we had hope when we saw the Black Panther movie, the first one. Now we're going to change the narrative. Now little children won't see Black men as the boogeyman, the man that's going to rob you, the man that's the drug dealer, the man that's the gangster. Now they can look at us as a superhero, our children, and say, my daddy can be a Black Panther too. See, that's why I like the Black Panther, because his strength is in his technology and his culture. And we can bring that in reality as Black men. But in the second movie, it was as if it was said in the writing rooms, too much hope is dangerous. We don't want these men sticking up and feeling good, because let's tie this thing into some realistic stuff. And this is no slight to women. And I want our sisters to understand that we overlove you, not underlove you. We love you, but we understand how the enemy will weaponize movies that we love to put us into a mindset that is beneficial to them. And in this movie, when they emasculated our dear brother, it was to say, we gave y'all too much hope in the first movie. We're going to take a little bit of that back now, and we're going to take the biggest, strongest Black man, and we're going to make him a comic relief, just like they did on the slave plantation. They would take the biggest, strongest Black man and break them down and say, if we can take the biggest, strongest Black man down, anybody that's a lesser size than him don't stand a chance. And that's the undertone in the movie. And so when people say, oh, y'all reading too much in it, you're blind, baby, you can't see. You need to wear sunglasses like DMC. That's why you don't understand what you're watching. And people need to start watching movies for the messaging. What is the message this movie is trying to put upon me? Don't get caught up in all the glitter and the glamour, but what was the messaging? And I saw a messaging that I didn't like in this movie that I saw in the first movie, and it's very dangerous. They have a chance to redeem themselves in the third movie. They can change it, but I think they're going to go farther into the abyss, because they already dropped a little poison in the water with that last 10 scenes and 10-second scene. And I guarantee you that narrative is going to have an even greater role in the third movie.
Okay, great. We come right back to you, Brother Mikhail. Thank you so much. Thank you to our people watching from Haiti. Somebody said they watching from Haiti. Thank you, people watching all across the country, especially Yeah, exactly. All right, so now I want to come back to you, bro, Mikael, dealing with the recasting. Is it like I saw everybody spoilers everywhere? Killmonger's in the movie, right? But is he only going to be like a fairy godmother type situation, or can he bring redemption? Can he come back and be a physical force that we all loved in the first one?
I don't think so, because if you pay attention to the events and how they as the doctor talked about the traditions of the Wakandans, right? So in the tradition, we saw it in the Black Panther, when they take the heart-shaped herb, right, it takes them to the ancestral plane. Shuri's character, one of the other themes around it, she's kind of like, in a sense, an atheist. She's not an atheist, but she doesn't really believe in the history and the traditions. That was the whole problem in the dynamic in the first movie that M'Baku had with her. He's like, y'all letting this child, reign with this technology over our traditions and our way of life. You letting that supersede our way. That was his initial. They kind of reconciled that in this movie, which I was like, okay, that's cool. But if you remember, Shuri doesn't really believe in all that. And that's why when Queen Mother is sitting and talking with her and trying to have this grief ceremony that they're going to burn the garments from from the funeral to help them move on, to show that they moved on from that stage of grief. And Shuri's like, I ain't with all that. And the mother's saying, well, this is what helped me connect with T'Challa. Once I did this, I could hear him in the winds. I could see him in the, and everything. I could hear his voice again, And Shuri's like, no, Mom, that's just a construct of your imagination. That ain't real. And the mother hit her back, with like, okay, well, then how do you construct it in your mind? She never answered that question. But when she does the resynthesizing of the herb, mixing it with the plant from the Talokans, it's not 100% the same herb. It's like 98 point something effective, and all she says is, we'll know it works when it glows, and it does glow. When she takes it, she doesn't. Remember, she don't believe in all that ancestral stuff, so she doesn't go to the ancestral plane. She goes to the construct of her mind, and in the construct of her mind, there's the question of, if I gotta handle business, if I gotta step up in this role that I looked up to my big brother who was everything to me, how am I supposed to handle this? I can't be that noble person he was, because he believed in all this tradition, I don't believe all that. So who do we see around the crowd? It's Killmonger. But is it really Killmonger? Can't be, because she's not on the ancestral plane. It's the construct of her mind. And if you notice Killmonger's character in his dialogue, he's not telling her anything new. It's not no revelation. It's not no bombs dropped. It ain't the same dialogue that T'Challa has with T'Chaka, his father, when he's on the ancestral plane. It's like they have a serious dialogue, because T'Challa's like, Dad, why? How come? This, that, the other, and the father's responding. There wasn't that exchange between Shuri and Killmonger. Killmonger's basically like, you know why you here? You know why you see me? He basically said, you constructed this. You know what's going on. But we alike, though. We ain't nothing like, no, we are more alike than you think. Because you got to make a decision. Do you want to be the noble type person, or you want to take care of business? And I'm about to take care of business. So that's what she constructs in her mind. That if I got to get this job done, small as I am, unassuming as I am, but I got to step in this great role, I think Killmonger had it right. That's in her mind. And deep down, I really believe he kind of had it right. Let me follow that path. So I don't think that, I was hoping, that was another hope dash, like hoping there was some way, man, y'all saved the White Wolf, Winter Soldier, this speaks to one of the major plot holes that I see in the movie and the writing, that frantic writing that they did to put together. It's like, we're forgetting that Wakanda in the comics is supposed to represent a nation that's like 500 years in advance of everyone else around the world. And it ain't just because of the metal. It ain't just because of the vibration. It's just because they are technologically advanced. They knew what to do with the vibranium. It's one thing to just have a rock fall in your country. It's a whole nother thing to know how to synthesize that thing and break that thing down to the molecular structure and have it do this and that, manipulate, like all the stuff they did. That takes them, that's more than just y'all, y'all just because y'all got the rock, y'all advanced. No, they were a 500 years. In the comics, the Wakandans had cured cancer like 100 years ago. Yeah. All the major disease, they had no diseases. All that stuff cured in it. So it's like that was a major plot hole for me in the movie. It's so much. It's a lot. It's a lot. But
brother,
that part right there, I was hoping that damn, y'all saved Winter Soldier. You know, and I know he just got his arm cut off, but remember they preserved him. They did a Han Solo carbonite. They threw him in the box, you know, until he was ready to come out. And they was like, okay, here we got an arm for you, you know. Throw the arm, we got a mission for you. You're gonna become one of our war dogs. Because we got some stuff we need you to do. And they don't show that, but that's kind of what that represented. That he became one of their war dogs. I was even disappointed to bring him into it. Because he's a part of it, because he shares that technology, that history, that speaks. He owes them. He owes them big time.
Absolutely.
So I was disappointed. Like, y'all ain't even gonna call it on the Winter Soldier. Goddamn, you're not gonna bring the other males? Okay, that's cool. So I thought maybe somehow we just see the sunset on Killmonger in the first one. He gets impaled. Remember, he gets impaled by the vibranium, right? So because they didn't bring him back, we said, oh, well, then he's got to be dead. But here's another plot hole. Shuri gets impaled by the vibranium too. Namor impales her. Should have killed her. You know, but it doesn't. So it's like, well, if that didn't happen, why did y'all kill off Killmonger? He could have killed. I thought she was going to resurrect my man. You know, they got him on suspended animation, whatever, so they can figure out, you know, how that. And maybe he would have had a conflict, you know, that I don't want to feel, or something like that. They had to talk to it. That's what I was hoping. That got dashed. So yeah, to answer your question, Killmonger's gone.
Well, I take a little bit different take, Brother McKay.
Okay.
I think you hit on something with the fact that it was a construct of her mind opposed to going to the ancestral plane. But in the original comics, and they kind of mixed up the timelines in the first Black Panther, Killmonger is killed in the first in the comic, but a African tribe resurrected him from death, and then he went into Wakanda to fight Wakanda. That's in the timeline in the original comic. They twisted around in the first Black Panther movie by him going to Wakanda and he getting killed. But see, you made a very good point when you said that Shuri did not get killed when she was stabbed by the vibranium, because the suit had some of the beads power in it that creates a natural healing for her. So that's why she didn't get killed. The beads healed her. So the same thing happened for Killmonger, but did we ever see Killmonger's body really?
Right.
So is Killmonger somewhere in suspended animation somewhere where he can be brought back into the movie? And if there's a cry for a strong male figure, because Prince T'Challa got a long time before he grew up, he's probably about 2 movies out, right? Right. He can take the throne. We're going to probably see M'Baku give some leadership, because once again, in the original storyline, M'Baku actually takes over Wakanda for a short period of time and did become the king of Wakanda. And they try to allude to that at the end of this second movie when he said, I'm challenging for the throne, right? So that leaves us with assuming, because there was no challenger, he was automatically installed as the king. So he's a proxy king until baby Prince T'Challa get of age. But who's to say that they won't bring back Killmonger to challenge M'Baku for the throne, because M'Baku may not do what is necessary that Namor feels needs to be done, is that we need to join together and kill our colonizers. And Killmonger is more in that mindset. And M'Baku is like, if you kill Namor, you're gonna put us in this long-lasting civil war where we killing each other. So he don't have the heart to kill the colonizers. It's gonna take somebody like a Killmonger to come back and work with Namor to fight the colonizers. And that's what I want to see in movie 3. I want to see these black and brown nations come back up and say, look here, we coming back to kick ass and take names. That's what I want to see in the third movie.
That's right. No, that's right.
And I don't think M'Baku, the way they emasculating his character, he's not gonna want to fight the colonizers. It's gonna take somebody like Killmonger to fight the colonizers. And Shuri don't want to be on the throne. That's why she didn't show up for the challenge. Let M'Baku become this proxy king. She wants to be a scientist in her belief that science trumps over tradition.
Okay, great. So we have one more question for you all. Thank you all for taking time out of a busy schedule. Sister Selima watching all the way from St. Louis says, thank you everybody who's all across the country. Can't wait to put this on YouTube. So many people were texting me and giving me their breakdowns on Facebook and sending me these different messages and YouTube breakdowns with spoilers, some with spoilers, some without spoilers. I just wanted to say the importance of, for me, I'm X-Men. I'm a huge X-Men fan. It's like one of my favorite series. And Hugh Jackman, who got physically sick, was hurt in real life and all of this, he was so important to the franchise. They bring him back for Deadpool 3. They're like, you can't retire because that's how important it is for people to see you, the claws we're associated with. That's what it represents, the masculinity, all of this. We got to have our Hugh Jackman. Somebody got to come up to be the person who's like, yo, that's the black man who's a boss, boom, boom, who represent, we need that. Bro, I was going to say, while T'Challa is no longer in the MCU, we got Blade, we got some other superheroes that's supposed to be coming up. We got War Machine, we got in the DC, we got Cyborg or Green Lantern, depending on which one it is. What advice would you give to people who are raising sons and daughters, but specifically sons, on who they can put in front of their child, their young male child, to see another strong black man in the absence of, because I got a nephew, he knows all the words of Black Panther. So it's like, all right, what else we gonna give him? What else you got for him?
There's a brother of mine, you all may know him, brilliant writer, brilliant sci-fi writer, acclaimed writer. His name is Stephen Barnes. If you ever get a chance, check Brother Stephen Barnes out. And matter of fact, he's one of the black belt students, one of the senior black belt students of Sijo Steve Muhammad as well. Brother talks deeply about the behind the scenes type things that go on in Hollywood when it comes to writing. And he's got kind of like a criteria of how we are underrepresented on the writing table in Hollywood. And I have to agree with him. One of the things, because we keep talking about emasculation, black man and M'Baku, and I got backlash from some sisters like, hey, he wasn't emasculated, he was doing this, he was on the. I'm like, y'all don't even understand how deep the emasculation goes. Mm-hmm. So to emasculate is to take a man out of his role as a man, to make him less than. One of the quickest and easiest ways that you take a man out of that role on film is to erase or never allow him to have a love interest. Mm-hmm. So what you won't see, so yeah, you said we got Blade coming up. Who's Blade's love interest? Doesn't have one. Even when Wesley Snipes played the character in the original Blade, which kicked all this off, Imbleshay Wright's, the sister Imbleshay Wright, her character, you think there's some chemistry going on, but it really ain't. Mm-hmm. You know, Blade just kind of pities her, feels sorry. There's no love, there ain't no love scenes, he ain't do the Mo Better Blues thing with her, none of that, right? Well, no, ain't gonna be no sparks flying, none of that, right? When it comes to Captain America and Winter Soldier, so we got the Falcon who's through Captain America, but who's his love interest? You don't see her. He's not allowed to have one, right? What's the other one? War Machine, right? War Machine has been in all the Iron Man movies. Now he's in the Infinity Wars, all that. War Machine is all up in that thing, right? Don Cheadle's up in it. But who is his love interest? You can't think of, even in Black Panther, M'Baku is the ruler of one of the tribes of the greatest nation on the planet. Who is M'Baku's wife? You don't know because it doesn't exist, and that's a part of that emasculation. So we also have to be careful that, yeah, when we're pointing out, because we do that, we say, well, okay, well, T'Challa's gone, but we still got this, we got this, they can do it. But yeah, they're still subservient, they're still on a lesser level. They've been emasculated, they've been downgraded, they've been depowered. You know, so it's almost like we got to just create our own. I don't see anything coming out of Hollywood, Marvel Studios. They're following the same agenda. Black Panther was their oops, because they didn't expect it to go nowhere. The same way they really wasn't, like I said, Wesley Snipes' Blade kicked this whole thing off and resurrected Marvel, because Marvel was bankrupt. Marvel wasn't going nowhere, right? And Wesley took a B-grade character. Blade ain't no top-notch, character in the comics. Traditionally, he ends up becoming that because of Wesley Snipes. Yeah. Marvel owed Wesley a big check. I mean, a bigger check than whatever they gave him. Like he's getting some residuals because of how he kicked this thing off. But even with that one, that was like a oops, oh snap. You mean they paid attention to the? Because when I don't know if you remember when Blade first came out, how old you were, Joshua, but because I was familiar with the character when the previews first came out, I was hyped. Yeah. Nobody knew who Blade was. I'm a comic book geek, so I know. I said, oh snap, Wesley playing Blade? Yeah. Oh, and he killing white folks? Oh, the bloodsuckers of the poor? Yeah. Oh, this is gonna be heavy. And Wesley did it to that first movie, boom, over the top, right? But he ain't got no love interest. And there are 2 follow movies behind that. So we got to be careful when we're saying, who can we look up? Truly, honestly, we don't have anyone on film that we can. We got to go to the real heroes. We got to go back to the Muhammad Ali's. We got to go to the Minister Farrakhan's. We got to go to the Kwame Nkrumahs. Like we got to give our young boys real substance and just help them understand that, yes, that's fantasy. We're being robbed on that end, but hell, we don't need to be absorbed in that anyway. Because we got real heroes. Who's your father? Who's your grandfather? Who's your uncle? Like, we got to get them real people with some real substance that's tangible, that they can touch, they can emulate, they can follow, not just because that's fantasy. I'm a comic book geek. My 10-year-old comes out of me when I see it. But in reality, I have a son. I never pointed my son to those heroes. I pointed my son to living figures. I told him how great my father was. I told him how great my grandfather was. I told him how great I was and privileged to sit the floor at the knee of my great-great-grandfather. I know this. So those are the things I had to pass to my son, and that's kind of what we got. And if we don't have that in our family, then yeah, we, like the doctors talk, we got to introduce them to the real live, heroes in our communities and our history.
But what I think it leaves, Josh, is an opportunity for us to tap into the creativity within the Black community. There's a underground culture of writers called the Afrofuturistic writers. They start writing about what the future looks like because of what I consider white supremacy's way of wiping us out the future. If you look at a lot of futuristic movies, you would think that Black and brown people just all of a sudden disappear. But there's a group of writers called Afrofuturistic that are writing their own storylines, right? They're creating their own superheroes. And I'm going to take y'all all the way back. I don't know how old Brother McCall is. I'm 55, but I'm going to take you
in a couple months.
So you understand what I'm about to say. On the TV show Fat Albert,
right?
Bill Cosby was very skillful in taking away Fat Albert them from looking at a white superhero. He created a superhero character called the Brown Hornet. And that was who Fat Albert and were excited about seeing on the TV, was this Black superhero called the Brown Hornet. Now, the reason Bill Cosby created the Brown Hornet, because there were 2 superheroes that were dominating television. One of them was Batman and Robin, but then there was also the Green Hornet and Kato. And the Green Hornet was this Batman kind of character. They both had similar storylines, and Kato was actually the famous Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee played Kato. Well, what Bill Cosby did was saying, we don't need a Batman, we don't need a Green Hornet, he created the brown hornet.
Mm.
So the seed of looking toward Black men as a superhero was planted in our mind right after Stan Lee with Bill Cosby. So now we have the opportunity with so much creativity in the Black community for us to sit our young people down and say, now take your creativity and create Black superheroes. We don't need to wait on DC and Marvel to create superheroes for us. We can create our own superhero. I would love to see a character where a brother is wearing a bow tie and a suit, and all of a sudden he goes into this superhero character and cleans up the Black community. Oh, that's called the FOI. But see, that's what we have to take our story, as Brother Mikhail said, and put it into a way that the people can digest it. And if we need to put it in the comics for them to digest, we need to do that. So creativity need to kick up, and it's an opportunity for us to fill that gap and create our own superheroes so that we don't have to keep on having these false narratives imposed upon us with overtones of agendas from special interest groups.
Excellent. Great. On that note, thank you everybody who's watching all across the country. I just also want to say the superhero that people see, two superheroes, but Brother Mikhail brought up the love interest thing. There was one that growing up, he went by the name of Blank Man, had a pretty woman by the name of Robin Gibbons. I don't know if y'all, I'm a Blank Man fan. I just think Blank Man's funny. I don't think Damon Wayans gets enough credit for trying. Meteor Man too. They tried with Meteor Man. They tried with Blank Man. It just, it's just whatever. All right, but I also want to say thank everyone.
Those movies though. You see what Hollywood did with those movies though.
Yes, sir.
They didn't promote them high. You know what I'm saying? Because it came out of the creative genius of our people trying to take away those things and empower us. And Hollywood downplayed that thing, but it bombed. They sick their critic war dogs on it. And they ate it up and chewed it up, and they give it these low ratings, all that kind of stuff.
Listen, now you got me thinking about love interest. All right, listen. Okay, well, I want to thank Brother Mikhail. I want to thank you, Dr. Henry M. Carter. Thank you, everybody who's watching all across the country. I want to bring y'all back for for another movie, any TV shows, anything, any ideas that you all have. The podcast is yours. Thank you all. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much.